What's going on, everybody? It is Chris Akin from the Classic Metal Show, and just want to invite you to join us to listen to the Classic Metal Show every single Saturday from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, live at theclassicmetalshow.com or in rebroadcast all throughout the week, whether you like the video or the audio. It is there in all the podcast places, as well as on Rumble and Odyssey and BitChute and all those other places. So it is definitely out there. It's definitely not for everybody. We are certainly renegades. If you like the old Howard Stern or Opie and Anthony type of content, that's exactly what we are doing. Sometimes it's dirty, sometimes it's filthy. It's always funny. So make sure you tune in, theclassicmetalshow.com. Join us each and every week and make yourself laugh. Life's too short not to. All right, peace. It is Chris Akin Presents, and once again, I am Chris Akin, as always, and joining me today to talk about his band and his great new EP, and I do say that with a lot of emphasis because I have been rocking it and loving it. It's called Purgatory Awaits. It is out February the 25th, and it's a band that some of you probably don't know, and it's a shame that you don't because you've missed out on 10 years of good music, and hopefully today we're going to introduce you to something that you could start with new and then go backwards to. The band is Venrez, and joining me today to talk about Purgatory Awaits and Venrez is Ven. Ven, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, Chris. Nice to meet you and be on your show.
Absolutely, man. Well, dude, like I was telling you in text earlier this morning, man, I've been a fan of your band for a good while, at least 10 years. And, you know, I've always said, and, you know, it's funny because I get asked a lot about, tell me a new band that I might like. You know, it's the question I get. And I throw your band's name in, but I almost feel bad throwing your band's name in now because you guys have been around for, 15 years or something at this point.
Well, no, I mean, we've been, we did our first tour in December 2010. We just have never had a record deal. And, the type of things that come along with it,
Sure.
We've just been indie, so we've never had the benefit, of commercial radio promotions and things of that nature. So I think we've released a lot of great music, although it's never been on the radio. So unless you've seen us on tour, you wouldn't know who we are.
Sure. And it really is a shame too that you guys came up at the tail end of the record company importance era. If you guys would have come up now, I think you would have had a much better chance. You can look at a band like Dirty Honey that doesn't have a record deal, but is obviously doing well because the industry as a whole has taken to that finally, to letting the independent artist make its own noise. Do you think that you have a better shot now because the industry has changed so much than maybe even like 10 years ago when everything was driven by who's paying what radio station X amount of money?
Well, I do. And I'll tell you why, because for a few reasons. Number one, I brought in a new, very young and amazing rhythm section 3.5 years ago. And this lineup is the best I've ever been in the studio and on stage live with. And also, people may have different opinions, but even in today's technical world, with all the different avenues of to get music out there, the commercial radio still drives everything, and we've never had that. We do now. So I think if we would have had that years ago, we would have blown up years ago. Things happen when they're supposed to happen, and we tried. We did everything that we possibly could. But Pavement, which is a Sony Ocher distributed label out of Chicago, they really know what they're doing with rock bands. And we got fortunate. They found out about us and really love us. They dig the music. They love the EP. And wow, they're just handling this release first class. You know, it's just
Sure.
something I've never experienced before. Really.
Sure. Well, and that is the thing, especially with Pavement. They I remember the old days of Pavement because you can see by the white beard, I'm an older guy. But I remember in the old days when Pavement, everything they put out was just bludgeoning metal, when it was like Brickbath and bands like that, like
Right.
really heavy stuff. But
Right.
it seems like now they've put their direction into stuff that could be it's radio friendly rock, but it's not soft. It's harder rock. And I'll point to you guys and I'll point to the band Plush that they're
That's
obviously
right.
putting a ton of time and effort into as well. And they're picking the right time and the right bands for this time, I think.
I think they are. And, you know, Venrez and Plush are two bands like that. I mean, we're not an average age of 21 or two all girl band like them.
Right.
You know, we're a badass boy band, but we're melodious. You know, we have two-part harmonies, something similar to that hasn't really been heard since Alice in Chains. We're melodic and dark, and we can be heavy and we can be pretty. We're versatile. So I really think right now is our time. And I love Plush. That girl can sing. Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mariah is actually a friend. And I mean, it's the depth of her voice. I say it all the time. She is the best vocalist in rock, period. Not female, not male, just she's the best vocalist.
She's got a great vocal. And if you're good friends with her, please tell her that I adore her.
You know what? That's a similar sentiment. Everybody says that. Everybody loves her. She's, and I know, and I don't want to turn this into a Plush talk, but obviously
Right.
when you see her and you see that band, the only thought I have is how good is this band going to be 5 years from now?
Exactly. You know, and they're my label mates, so I don't
Sure.
mind talking about them a little bit for sure.
Sure.
You never know. We might tour together one day. Who
Oh,
knows?
that'd be great. Well, and you know what? Your band would fit on the kind of tours that they've been playing, which, you know, obviously that has something to do with Pavement as well. They certainly get good tours with those kind of bands. And I think with Purgatory Awaits that this could be a very good time. You know, the whole world's opening up. Every band and their brother is going out on tour, which
right.
means that there's going to be opportunities, I think, for a band like yours to get out there and play some opening gigs in front of an audience that is just starved for music after 2-3 years of sitting at home.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to get out there and do it. It's been a while, you know. This pandemic kind of shut us down. And, you know, Pavement signed us in April of 2021. So it's been, you know, by the time we were ready for a release, you know, we pretty much had to wait till now. So it's been a long wait, but we're here.
Sure.
Thank God, finally
Definitely.
here.
Well, Ven, let's talk about Purgatory Awaits. It's I'll say it this way. It reminds me in a lot of ways like if Buckcherry and classic Guns N' Roses had a bus crash, whatever would be left would be Venrez. You know, so how and I do think that
I like that analogy. That's unique. I've never heard anything that one.
Well, it has the elements of all of that. Your vocal style, it doesn't. It reminds me of Axl Rose in the '80s. It doesn't fit anything else, and maybe it's just me, but I think Jason's guitar sound is the most unique but familiar guitar sound all at the same time of just about anybody I've heard, man.
That's the thing about our music. When you hear us, you know, it's like you're thinking, geez, it sounds like something I've heard before. And then you quickly realize that you haven't. I mean, we're a 4-piece. He plays through 2 cabs and 2 heads. He literally makes one guitar sound like 3. He's an absolute genius. He really is. Yeah, I'm so blessed to work with him. Really
sure. Now, how is it writing with him? Because, you know, and I'll just give you where my brain is at asking the question. A lot of times when you get a guy that has that kind of talent, they find themselves wanting to interject every little last bit of noodling that they can possibly stuff into the song. You never hear that on any of your albums. He plays to the parts, which makes me think that you and him write together, and he doesn't try to overplay his part in the band. Does that make
It's
sense?
one of the most enjoyable experiences of my life, writing and recording with Jason Womack. We mind melted years ago. You know, who knows what God has planned for us, whether we blow up big or things go bad and we go away in the next year. Either way, you know, sometimes you find these songwriters that are a magical combination.
Sure.
I mean, he knows what I'm thinking. I know what he's thinking. When I write stuff, he knows what I'm writing about. And it's just flawless and seamless and effortless. It really is.
No
And as
question.
time has gone by, you know, he's really accepted some of my production change ideas and deliveries and things like that. So, you know, I was pretty green when I started, and he was not.
Okay.
So, you know, as time has gone by, you know, the relationship has gotten better, and I've been able to put more input in. But, you know, we just work together great. You know, I hear, you know, people putting them in straitjackets in a vocal booth and all this stuff. You know, it's like, you know, it's really easy, and we're constantly writing and recording. In fact, you know, we were up to the wee hours last night. That's why I'm still in beanie here, writing and recording too from scratch. You know,
Okay.
I'll write lyrics. He'll put music to it. He'll give me music. I'll write lyrics to it, and then sometimes he'll just come over and he'll just start writing music, and I'm writing lyrics. You know, the studio's right there.
Okay.
So he has his desk. I do all my vocals. You know, my office is right here. I got my computer.
Right.
And, you know, we did that twice last night. And I have an SM7 mic over here. And it really, you know, I sing my keeper vocals to the demos. So when we go in the studio to record a record or EP, whatever, you know, my vocals are done.
Sure.
Yeah,
Very
I'm
good,
already
man.
done. Yeah, I like doing it that way. I really do.
Sure. But it does take a rare combination of musicians to be able to do that, specifically what you're talking about, where there's not a pattern. It's not he brings you a piece of music every time and you lay vocals over it. Sometimes you
No,
come
it's
to
different
him.
every time. You know, it just depends on what the situation is. If you want to see how special it is, go to YouTube and put in Love Dance by Venrez, and you'll think you're 1992 or 3 MTV
Right.
Unplugged. You know, because the band is special. Although him and I alone, with him on acoustic, electric acoustic, and us singing together, check that out when you have some time. And
Okay.
everybody watching the show, Love Dance by Venrez, because, you know, we can strip it down. You know, some guys can't do that. But we strip these songs down acoustically and build them up from there.
Sure. Now, Ven, this for this release, Purgatory Awaits, you went with an EP instead of a full length, which I say bravo to that, because so many bands that are releasing music right now are just, they're turning out, I'm not saying they're turning out bad music, but they're turning out music that is just stuffed with all the negative energy of the last 2 years. And I mean, everything is just, it's either super pissed off or super somber, you know, and I don't get that vibe off of Purgatory Awaits at all. I mean,
no, I haven't changed my writing style. You know, and it's been painful. You know, obviously the pandemic has been extremely painful for everybody, no matter what you do. Although I haven't changed my songwriting style at all. I did process some of the pain of it in some songs, like Cartoons on Television, but you see, you don't really know it. Like the track Cartoons on Television, that's really a combination of taking a stab at the government, you know, what the pandemic restrictions have caused a lot of people, and the George Floyd riots. It's really all of that rolled into one song, but very subtly.
Sure. Yeah, no, you're right. And that's one of the hallmarks. I mean, you've always kind of taken those jabs, and some of them are a little more overt than others if you listen through the entire
I
career.
have to.
But at the same time, you know, the worst thing you could be is preachy, because especially in today's world, if you're preachy in today's world, no matter what you're preaching, I don't care what you're preaching. If you're preaching that the sun is hot, you're going to get 50% of the people are going to say, no, it's not. You know,
nobody wants to be preached to. And
Mhm.
you know what? In the years I've been doing it and watching other bands and opening bands and you know, people who dig rock music, they know something that's real.
Mhm.
You know, and you look at Jeremy, you know, by Pearl Jam. You look at bands like Alice in Chains and also Nirvana, and younger people, and you see it in the rap music and such as well, and hip hop. You know, if it's real and it's coming from the heart and soul of the songwriter, they know the difference between choreographed shows and real deals. And I think as long as you're writing from your heart and soul and it's real, you're not being selfish. You're just sharing out to the universe experiences. I think the fans really like that. I think, and they know the difference. They really do.
Right. Well, you don't have to look any further than Bruce Springsteen to see that. I mean, that guy,
Exactly.
He doesn't have the most talent in anything. He's not the most talented guitar player. He's not the most talented singer. But especially if you listen to the first 5 or 6 of his albums, you know that they're from the heart. And those are the ones that people still talk about today, 50 years later or whatever it's been.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think Hendrix was similar.
Hendrix, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic songwriter, guitar player, not the greatest singer.
Sure.
You know, even Jim Morrison, he wasn't really a singer, he was a poet, but he pulled it off really well.
Sure. And I mean, you can even go somewhat more modern, even like a U2. You know, I mean, Bono doesn't have the greatest voice in the world. It's okay, but boy,
well, in that range,
yeah,
you know, he sings in a certain range. That range Bono sings in, very few people can own that range.
Yeah.
You know, I just happen to think he's extremely talented.
I wasn't arguing that point. I'm just saying that he's not. I mean, look, you can't argue 150 million sales no matter what. There's nobody sells 150 million records and sucks. That's for sure.
Well, you know, you have things that just work. You know, I'm not Bono. I'm not Mick Jagger. I'm not Steven Tyler. You know, David Bowie or anybody like that. I'm me.
Right.
You know, although when you put all the pieces of the whole band together, it's just a very finely working clock. And so you don't have to be the greatest singer in the world, but if everything is working, it becomes something very, 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 very special. So, you know, I don't really compare myself to anyone, although, you know, when you're a new band on the rise, you get compared to a lot of people.
Sure.
No, you're right. I think that's natural. You know, Steven Tyler, I just love his voice.
Sure. Yeah. And if you're compared to Steven Tyler, nobody's going to argue that too hard, right?
No, I'll tell you, the worst review I ever got was very early in my career. And it was also the biggest compliment that I ever got. We were playing some stupid music festival in Venice Beach. Okay. And the person who reviewed us said that we were a convenient bathroom break and that I sounded like Audio Slave. And I'm like, oh, geez. Okay. So you insulted me and gave me one of the biggest compliments of my career starting off by telling me I'm a convenient bathroom break and I sound like Audio Slave. Okay. So since we weren't doing reggae on the beach, we sucked. But that was probably the biggest compliment I think I ever received.
Yeah, wow, that's somebody who didn't know his own profession to know how to say something bad. Oh, you sound like one of the arguably greatest 20 singers of all time, but we don't like you. It's like, what?
Yeah, Chris Cornell was an
amazing,
an incredible talent. There's no question about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Ven, let's talk about a couple of songs on the record itself. The one thing, and it's really not so much about, it's about all the songs and none of the songs. I listened to the EP, and unlike your other releases, there's not like a true standout track this time. There's not one that stands above the others, at least to my ear. It's just a very consistent, solid 6 songs. Was that a purpose move, or was it that you just
Well, I
didn't
mean,
write?
we have a lot of material, man. I probably got 7 records worth of stuff because Jason and I just keep writing.
Okay.
I sent what I thought were, 12 of the best songs at the time, in my opinion.
Mhm.
It was the label Pavement that wanted to do an EP.
Okay.
And there was a 7th song they kind of wanted on there, but I felt it would be better to have less is more and go with 6,
Sure.
right? And the 6 that we all agreed upon, and then putting them in the right album order. And I'm glad to hear from you. I guess it worked because now you're the first feedback on that.
Okay.
That it did. They're different songs, but they're all within the flow. If you listen to it, if you heard it all on any of them on the radio, you'd know it's the Venrez rock band.
Right.
I think it's pretty
Certainly.
consistent.
And yet the one song, not that it stands above the others, but is probably the most different than pretty much anything that I've heard in your career, and I think I've heard all the records, is Gin Fizz. Gin Fizz just sounds unique to what you do.
I think it's the best song on the record, and I believe it's one of the top 5 of the best songs that have well over 150 I've written with Jason. I really think it's a very special song. It's a special song to me in what I'm writing about. A lot of it has to go back to my childhood and my earlier relationships and people I loved a lot who left the earth way too soon. And, what life was really like for me when I was much younger and struggling week to week, paycheck to
Right.
paycheck, things of that particular nature. And Jason just did an amazing job with the music. And I think the guitars on it are just the breakdown, before you go into the, after the second hook is, I just think some of his best work. I really do.
Sure. Now, Ven, I know you always want to have a hit with whatever song it is. You always want to have that breakthrough hit. But I'm always curious if you would want it to be a song like Gin Fizz that is so personal to yourself, because then every time for the rest of your life that you sing the song, you got to remember, a hard time, the hard time that led to those words. Would it be difficult if that was the song that was the breakout song?
No, it wouldn't. And I don't know what the label's going to want to do, but if we're going to drop a second single off the EP, that would be my choice. And, you come out with Show Me, and it's a great rocky song with, it's got a good hook. The bass line's great. Gabe came up with, my bass player, Gabe Maska. And then, if you build a big following behind a push on that, maybe you extend the radio promotion a few more weeks and then drop that one on them. I think it'd be beautiful. And no, I would love that. I really would, because I've grown through all of it.
Sure.
And you don't sit there and depress daily over big losses. They just become a part of who you are. That's life. Life's
Sure.
about loss.
Yeah, no. But the average person doesn't have to sing and be reminded of it every single day either. That's the difference.
No, I'm sending that message out to the world, and the more millions that get to listen to it and dig it, that's why I write the stuff in hopes that will happen. There's nothing I would love more.
Sure. No question. Yeah. Well, Ven, obviously the world is sort of kind of opening up, I guess. Tour plans, too early to tell, not able to make plans yet until you see what happens. What?
Well, we have some good people behind us, besides Pavement. Our management company is Concrete Marketing, Bob Chaparty.
Yeah.
I think they're only second to the firm. They've worked with us on and off You know, they're the ones that got us on tour with Fuel, which is our first USA tour, Super Bowl Village show.
Sure.
You know, they got us on tour with Alice Cooper. They got us on tour with Slash. We did a monstrous Euro tour with Buckcherry and Hardcore Superstar. They got us on all of that. So I think they're going to start adding to radio beginning tomorrow.
Okay.
On the 28th, that should pick up. And according to our manager, Bob Chapardi, Concrete Marketing they were out of New York. They're now in Nashville. Moving to the red states, you know, he thinks by the second or third week of March, we're going to really know how well our singles charting.
Okay.
We got Eric Baker, who got plush all the way to number 3 on the same modern active Billboard rock charts. He thinks we're going to crack the top 10 or 5 as well.
Great.
We'll have to wait and see. You have to have some ammunition, you know, to go out there to bands that are going to want you, because they know that a lot of people are going to want to see you. You know, it's about ticket sales, and you know, and if you want to go out and get paid, and it's not cheap to tour, you know, you got to prove that you can draw, and that's why you're seeing, you know, 3 bands touring together a lot in this day and age. Like, I think just like you know, Bush and Stone Temple Pilots and some other big 90s band just finished doing a big tour together. You know, you need to do that. I think we'll probably be third up, you know, to 2 90s type bands, probably. I'm guessing something like that would work. I mean, I'd love to just go out and be direct to Greta Van Fleet, but I mean, even winning a Grammy for their first record, you know, I mean, they're opening for Metallica, so
yeah, well,
you just never know what could happen. But I think, you know, maybe third up to a nice 3-band, you know, 2 other bands that were huge 90s bands. Someone like Bush, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, you know, something from that avenue, I think would work really well. But who knows? You know, they can get us on tour with about everybody. But it's so late. Things are getting booked. The competition's tight. So I don't think we'd be direct support no matter how much noise we make. I think we'd be like third up. You know, probably something like that, which is fine.
Right. Well, let's hope it happens, man. I'll tell you what.
Probably May or June, USA.
Very cool. June. Well, Ven, where should we tell people to go to keep up with the band and get tour dates and you and all that stuff?
Well, you want to, you know, definitely our website, which is Venrez, VENREZ, theband.com, VENREZ, theband.com. You're going to get all the news there. Sign up for our email list, and you'll know everything. Of course, on Facebook, you know, facebook.com/Venrez, VENREZ. You know, that's where you're going to, you know, pretty much get all that kind of info. All
right, great. Well, one more time, Ven, the album is Purgatory. The EP is Purgatory Awaits. It is out Friday. And the band, of course, is Venrez. And Ven, thanks so much for joining me here on Chris Akin Presents.
Can I say one last thing?
You can.
Okay. Show Me, the single, and ATM Machine were released indie before we got signed, and they're on the record. My drummer's French and got trapped in France and couldn't leave the country. So guess who drummed for the 6 songs?
I'm assuming it might be the guy sitting in front of me.
Stephen Perkins from Jane's
Oh,
Addiction.
No kidding. That's right. From Jane's.
Yeah. Evil Words, Gin Fizz, cartoons, and each and every day are Stephen Perkins, Perk, from Jane's Addiction on those 4 songs. A little surprise.
Nice. That doesn't suck.
Not at all. Pleasure being on the show. I love being, you know, you're the first one. I've done a lot of interviews so far, but you're the first one who, you know, really is familiar with the band. And it's so nice to talk to you and talk to people that are familiar with the band.
Sure. Very cool, man.